And here we are again, collectors of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We're going to work on another Commander EDH deck that maybe you want to build this, you know. I do see a lot of people talking about this guy, and a lot of people don't like him. I've heard a lot of guys call him a hate bear or something like that, but you know what? I decided to build a deck for this guy, so why don't we just jump right into it? It's going to be Urza, Lord High Artificer. Now, if you remember Urza, this goes way, way back, you know, like to begin the 90s Magic, and he was a big deal. I think there was some kind of war between him and, like, what is it, Mishra and Taunos. They were all, like, doing something way back in the day, but nonetheless, he makes a good Magic card. This one's from original Modern Horizons 1. I pulled him out of a box of Modern Horizons 1, so hopefully he'll be a lot of fun to play with. Basically, when he comes into play, when he enters the battlefield, you can create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Now, what really makes this guy ramp-tastic is that you can tap and untap for artifact you control and add a mana. Which, if you have a lot of token generation artifacts, you're just buried in mana. So nothing you're not going to be able to cast basically with this guy if he's out on the field. So now for 5 colorless, you can shuffle your library, then exile the top card until end of turn. You may play that card without paying its mana cost. So once you get a lot of threshold of artifacts in play, you can tap them for the 5 mana, see where this is going, shuffle your deck, pull a card, cast it. So I can see this guy getting broken really fast. I don't think he's banned yet. I hope not. He's pretty cool, though. I don't think he's banned in Commander. So let's go ahead and jump right on and see what we can do with this guy, okay? All right, first thing we're going to jump into is the artifacts and artifact creatures. Most of these are creatures or artifact creatures. This first one, you can see why it's in the deck. It does cost 6. Obviously, it's a Thopter. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no Thopters other than Thopter Assembly, you return it to your hand and create 5 colorless 1/1 Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. So you create 5 of those guys and you tap them and you get 5 blue mana. I mean, that's amazing. That's wow. Just for 1 card, you're getting all that value. Darksteel Juggernaut, he costs 5 colorless. It's indestructible. Obviously, he isn't going to leave the field. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control, so of course affinity for artifacts. And of course he can attack each turn if able. So he's just going to keep attacking and attacking everybody every turn. So really annoying card. This guy, obviously he's in the deck just to reduce the cost of artifacts. So when you hard cast an artifact, it's just 1 less at that point. The Sculptor, he's in there for the same reason. Look what he can do. Like, so basically, let's just say, yeah, both of these out. Your artifacts cost 2 less to cast with both of those guys. So you can get stuff out for almost free, I guess. Plus the effect on Urza, you can really start stacking that. Fate Spinner at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, which is amazing. That player chooses draw step, main phase, or combat phase. The player skips each instance of the chosen step or phase for that turn, which is just amazing. I mean, you're really causing a lot of slowdown on your opponents, so they have to choose. They want to, you know, they want to skip one of those phases or one of those things they want to do. They want to not, you know, have a combat phase or, you know, draw a step. So it's really kind of slowing their game down. Really useful card. Real powerhouse there. Vidalcan Humiliator. Whenever it attacks, if you control 3 or more artifacts, creatures your opponents control lose all abilities and have beast power and toughness 1/1 until end of turn. That's so broken. I mean, wow. I mean, you swing in and everything becomes 1/1 or 1/1, so you just wipe everything out and they have no abilities. Blight, Steel, Colossus. I had to put him in. He's just a deck like this. You got to be able to try to get him out. So he's indestructible, so he comes out, he never goes away. He's got infect, so if you hit somebody with him, you can see where this is going. Plus, he got trample. So if you use the previous card plus this guy, that player's dead because they get 10 infect counters and they die. And of course, you can go put them back in your library if you want to do that. So this is a great card. Wow. Next one's going to be Worm Coral Engine. Death Touch Lifelink. When Worm Coral Engine is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 3/3 colorless worm artifact creature token with Death Touch and a 3/3 colorless worm artifact creature token with lifelink into the battlefield. Worm Coil has always been a great card since day one, so it obviously goes in the deck. Now, Feyrexia Metamorph, it's basically there to copy one of the other artifacts. You know, that's the whole idea, is just to go ahead and dupe something else that's out there. So, next one is kind of it's Mechagodzilla Battle Fortress. Giant Mechagodzilla. I think it's originally Hangerback Walker, but what you can do with it is, it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When it dies, you can create 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying for each 1/1 counter on the walker. And of course, if you pay 1, you can put a counter on them. So you see where this is going with the Urza combo. You put Hangerback and Urza in there. You just stack this guy up with a pile of counters. And yeah, I mean, you get all those Thopters and then tap those, and you're just loaded with mana. You can just stack up your mana really high. Next one's going to be Trophy Mage. You can search a library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 3, reveal it, and put it into your hand. And then shuffle your library. So it's a tutor. We got this one, Artifacts Control, have Convoke, so you can tap them, and then it pays for 1 of the mana. So again, if you don't have, I guess, Urza out, if he gets punted, you can use something like this and still get a similar effect. Not quite the same, but somewhat similar. Geode Golem, when it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast your commander from the command zone. So if Urza's got a bunch of stuff stacked on him, let's say people keep hating him and countering him, well, you can get him back out of the command zone without paying his mana cost. That's broken. So if he's got, like, say he's got a commander tax of 6 on him or something, he's not going to cast it anytime soon, well, that'll get him out. When Whirler Rogue enters the battlefield, create 2 colorless Thopter tokens with flying. If you tap 2 artifacts, you control target creature can't be blocked this turn. So you got something that's really big, like the Blight Steel or anything like that. You can just get it through unblocked. I think you know what Sad Golem does. He just, commits suicide, and you go get a land. So that's the thing. Actually, no, you draw a card, don't you? You get a land card when he comes out, and then when he dies, you get a card. Yep. Next one is going to be Myriad Construct. When you pay the kicker, well, first of all, if it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counters on it for each non-basic land your opponents control. See that? When Myriad Construct becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it and create a number of 1/1s and colorless construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. So yeah, you see where that's going? Again, you're creating more tokens, more stuff to tap and get mana. Next one's going to be Master Transmuter. You can return an artifact to your hand. You may put an artifact card from your hand into play. So you have like so you want to return the token. Return a token, it disappears into thin air, and then you put out a 11/11 Blightsteel Colossus. Am I seeing that right? You may put an artifact card from your hand into play. I think so. I think that's a thing. Alright, so next one we got is Sharding Sphinx. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may create a blue Thopter creature token with flying. So it creates, obviously, tokens. Next one's going to be Mer Battle Sphere. You create 4 1/1 Mer artifact creature tokens. When Mer Battle Sphere attacks, you may tap X untapped mirror you would control. If you do, Mer Battle Sphere gets +X/+0 until end of turn and deals X damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. So you can add extra damage. I got this guy in here. It's Steel Hellkite. He's got some add-on abilities, so I can give him a buff, or I can destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X, whose controller was dealt damage by the Hellkite. So if I can get him in, and then I just drop a bunch from Urza, tap some artifacts, get the mana, and then yeah, I see where that's going. It's pretty epic. Next one we've got is Ancient Stone Idol. It has Trample. It's a 12/12. When it dies, you can create a 6/12 colorless construct artifact creature token with Trample. This card is busted. It's so hard, so powerful. 12/12 for that. Thought Monitor. Affinity for artifacts. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, I can draw 2 cards. So it's good for card draw. Loyal Drake. It's a lieutenant. At the beginning of your combat of your turn, if you control your commander, you draw a card. So extra card draw. Can't beat that. Next we got is Padin, Council of Innovation. Artifacts you control have hexproof. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control the artifact with the highest converted mana cost or tied for the highest converted mana cost, you draw a card. High probability that's going to happen. I mean, with the Blight, Steel, and some of these other things, you probably, 6/6, you're probably going to have highest converted mana cost. So, probably pretty good. Now, we're going to hit some of these Planeswalkers. By the way, I found a bunch of artifacts and just sort of stuck them out there for you guys to check out. Alright, so we got Ugin the Ineffable. Colorless spells cost 2 less to cast. Well, that's useless. Oh, you want an artifact? You want a 2-cost artifact for free? It's free. It's colorless. It's colorless. It's free. Exile the top card of your library face down and look at it. Create a 2/2 colorless spirit creature token. When it leaves the battlefield, put the exile card into your hand. Destroy target permanent as 1 or more colors. So it's got card destruction on it there as well. So that's really super helpful. We got Karn, Scion of Urza. Says reveal the top 2 cards of your library. An opponent chooses one of them. Put that card into your hand and exile the other with a silver counter on it. Put a card you own with a silver counter on it from exile to your hand. You can create a 0/0 colorless artifact creature token with it gets +++1 and +1 for each artifact you control. So he's got a lot of stuff on him, a lot of options to do things. Last Planeswalker is going to be Tezzeret, the Seeker. You can untap 2 of your artifacts if you're using your artifact, like say a Mana Rock or something, or you want to retap something to do another effect. Search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less and put it into play, then shuffle your library. Good way to tutor for something. Artifacts you control become 5/5 artifact creatures until end of turn, if you want to do that. Now, we're going to jump right into the actual artifacts by themselves, not the artifact creatures. So, this is basically, untap all artifacts controlled and each other up players' untapped step. That's pretty darn amazing, if you ask me. It's like Seedborn Muse, but an artifact, so good stuff. Next card we have is Mirrorworks. Whenever another non-token artifact creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that artifact. So, yeah, that's the thing. Let's see where that's going. Alright, when Prototype Portal enters the battlefield, you may exile an artifact card from your hand. If I want to, I can pay X, create a token copy of the exile card. X is the converted mana cost of that card. So you can start duping some stuff if you want to get double artifacts in there. Endless Atlas, draw a card. You you pay 2 to draw the card. You activate this ability only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. So I guess 3 islands, and you just tap it, and then you can start drawing cards. So extra card draw is always a good thing in a commander game. Mindslaver, sacrifice it. You control the next player's turn. So probably gonna need the 6 mana to get it out, considering what Urza can do. Yeah, pay 1, sack, or 4, excuse me, sack it, and you just control somebody else's turn. Okay, you can use this to investigate. Of course, create a clue token. When you sacrifice it, you draw some cards. So that's good card draw. Mycosynth Lattice, you can turn all your permanents into artifacts. So whatever it is you got, you can just go ahead and tap it and get mana if you want, or do whatever you want with this. It's pretty incredible. Plus it makes your opponent's cards all artifacts as well. Alright, next we got this one. Retrofitter Foundry. You untap it. You can create servo artifact creature tokens. You can sacrifice those to get Thopters and sacrifice that and create a colorless construct artifact creature. Pretty cool. Chroma's Memorial. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and from red. Amazing card. Great stuff. Next is going to be Hedron Archive. You can see what it does. It's basically a mana rock, but you know, you can sack it and draw a couple of cards. So it gives you a mana rock and a couple of cards to draw. Lightning Greaves to protect Urza over there, so you can't be targeted by your opponents. Just prevent them from doing that. We got Commander's Plate. You can see it has protection from each color that is not your commander's color identity, so no one can red. So the only people that can really hit it, I guess, would be blue them. So if you can get this on your commander, it's protected from all the other colors. Now let's hit into some of these. These are enchantments. So our first enchantment is going to be Urza's Saga, named after obviously the guy that's the commander, and of course a set. I mean, I got some of these when I was a little girl, but you know, I can't afford them now. Like I could never afford a box of this. It's like 20 grand now or something. Be nice to have a box of Urza's Saga. It's kind of cool. Could sell it and buy a car, I guess, at this point, but whatevs. So Urza's Saga gains tap and you get a mana. It also gains on the second turn. It would be after it's been casted. You create a 0/0 colors artifact, construct artifact creature with, it gets +1/+1 for each artifact control. So get that. Search your library for an artifact card with 0 or 1. Put it on the battlefield and shuffle. Okay, I'm going to go get a Soul Ring, or if it had a Mana Crypt in this deck, I could go get it if I really wanted it that bad. But Soul Ring, easy extra 2 mana and some other 1 or 0 cost cards. Get a Black Lotus, I guess, if you could, you know, afford one. Thopters Spy Network. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter creature token with flying. Whenever one or more artifact creatures control deal combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So more card draw. Mystic Remora. This fish card, I'm pretty sure you know what he does. Whenever a target opponent successfully casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. That player may pay 4 to counter this. Nobody pays the 4. It's basically like a Ristic Study until you can't pay the cumulative upkeep. Considering what he can do, though, I'm almost thinking he could probably keep drawing off of this for quite a few turns if you really, really want to do that. Now you can see you can reveal artifact cards from the top 5. You can put those in your hand. And then, of course, on turn 3, artifacts you control become creatures with base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. So you got like 1/1 Thopters. Now all of a sudden you have like 20 5/5. So just, you know, run over people. Mind's Dilation. Whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana costs. Busted. The next card is pretty brutal. This is back to basics. Now, make a suggestion here. As long as you have tappable mana sources other than your own stuff, I do have a good bunch of non-basic lands in this deck. But if you're at a strategic advantage and you have Urza out, or any way to generate mana without needing, let's say, those non-basics, play this, and there's a high probability you're going to slow everyone else's game down. You know, as long as Urza can create mana, he creates blue mana with his ability. So you put this out, you have a bunch of Thopters, you tap those for your mana on blue, and then do you see where I'm going with this? So other players will not be able to really do a lot with their non-basics. So, yeah, that really kind of messes them up. You want to take that card plus this one. Artifacts, creatures, and lands your opponent's control come into play tapped. So it's just basically just slows everybody down except for you. You know, because you're still generating mana with Urza as long as he's out and he hasn't been countered or something. So Healy's Artistry. You create a copy of a target artifact. You can create a token that's a copy of a target creature, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. So you can see that that has a lot of value and use to it. Next, we got this one. Tidings. You can draw just a card draw. Draw 4 cards. I think you're probably going to get the 5 mana, I guess. I don't see any reason why not. And draw 4 cards. Good stuff. Next is going to be Reverse Engineer. It's again more card draw. Draw 3 cards. Next one's going to be this one. Aether Gale. Return 6 non-land permanent cards to their owner's hands. You can see why that would be useful. Just punt stuff back. Tinker. At any time you play Tinker, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for an artifact card, and put that into play. Shuffle your library. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go get the Blight Steel Colossus. Why wouldn't I? Into play. Don't have to pay for it. Put is the keyword there. It's not even cast. So any effect that says it can't be countered. Think about this. You didn't cast it, so it can't be countered. You're just putting the card into play. That's the thing you got to realize with some of these words on here. Cast and put are 2 different words. So any effects that would counter it or make you not able to cast it are negated because it's a put effect, which is even better. It's kind of like Kalia of the Vast. You can put something into play or whatever. Create a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying. Take an extra turn after this one, and of course you exile it. You can see why that's in there. I'm sure at some point you'll get the 7 mana, or if you want to, do it the other way. Ancestral Vision with suspend. Target player draws 3 cards. You just put it out. You pay the 1 mana. Am I seeing the right? You pay 1 mana. And then, of course, in 4 turns, you can draw 3 cards. I think that's useful. Echo Storm. Copy to each time you cast your commander from the command zone in this game. You may choose new targets for copies. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact. So, again, you're duping some artifacts. Could be very helpful. This one's mass manipulation. Let's just go ahead and take everybody else's stuff. Yeah, take their stuff. Just gain control of X target creatures and planeswalkers. You just take all their stuff. It's so good. So brutally good. Alright, so now we're just going to jump into these. We'll do the instance first. We'll do this. We got Brainstorm. I think you know what a Brainstorm does if you've been playing Magic, at least for the last however many years, I guess. Everybody knows what Brainstorm does. Into the Royal. You return a non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If the spell was kicked, you can also draw a card. So you punt something and you get card draw. Cyclonic Rift. I think you know what Cyclonic Rift does. It's a game winner. It's just like Cyclonic Win. Next card is Boomerang. You can see what it does. And last, but for the instance, we got Precognitive Perception. Again, it's more card draw. You can draw 3 cards, but you can also scry 3 if you play it during your main phase. So, good stuff. And let's just hit up some of these rocks real quick. These are mana rocks. I think you know what a mana rock is if you play Commander. We got Mind Stone. Hedron Archive. Love the fact that you can tap this and get 3 mana with that. Even though it's colorless. Nyx Lotus is, your devotion's going to be blue. So, yeah. Tap it and see where that's going. Let's see. We got a Commander Sphere and a Warren Power Stone. And finally, a Soul Ring. Usual stuff there. No surprises. I do have some non-basic lands. Remember with that one card, if you have all non-basic lands out, don't play it. But if you're going to go ahead and just, let's just say that you've got Urza to do your stuff for you, then just go ahead and play it. Academy Ruins. 1 and a blue. You tap it, you can put an artifact card from your graveyard to the top of your library. So if one of your heavy hitter artifact goes to the graveyard, this is out, you pay the 2, it goes back to your library, you're going to get it back. So that's good stuff. Castle Vantris. I think you know what it does. Reliquary Tower. Soul Devi Excavation. This is an old one from Alliances. I put this in here because you can add 1 and a blue, and also I can pay 1 to scry the top of my deck. Basically, it gives me a scry ability on a land, which is like amazing. Just to have that on a land. This one, it allows me to scry when it comes into play, so I thought I'd put it in there. Tectonic Edge. I can sacrifice to destroy someone's non-basic. I think that's going to come useful at some point. Destroy something that's really helping somebody out. You can choose target commander that enters the battlefield this turn. You can put a counter on it if it's a creature, and always a counter if it's a planeswalker. So I could put a counter on, Urza if I want to do that. Mistress Factory, it becomes an assembly worker. It's still ASC. I mean, it has its uses. I could see where for certain thresholds you might want to have this card. So it's got its uses. Indestructible, Darksteel Citadel. Inventor's Fair. Let's see what it does. If you sacrifice, you can search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only if you control 3 or more artifacts. So you're tutoring for an artifact on a land, so you can't beat that. And Seed of Cyanide, it's an artifact land, so it goes toward affinity for artifacts. And last, we got Sacrifice it to create 2 Thopter creature tokens. So ideally, with these kind of lands, if they do come into play, you can play these other abilities, even if they're, locked down or whatever you do. And that wraps it up for Urza. There's more things you can do with this guy. Like I wish I had I think it's called Darksteel Citadel or something. Some card that makes them all indestructible. Don't own one. Hopefully someday I can afford one and pick one up and add that to my collection. But as you can see, this is a pretty amazing card. I gave you a good idea what you can build into this deck, but you can pretty much expand from what I put in there. There's a lot of great cards that you could probably add to that to improve what I've got there. So hopefully you enjoyed my videos. Please like and subscribe on my channel. Share it with your friends. Let them know. I'm probably going to start up a Patreon pretty soon so I can actually make more of these and build more decks. And I want to eventually hopefully have like 100 commander decks on here. That's my goal. So that'll be something you guys can enjoy and start watching my videos more and stuff. So good hanging out with you guys today, and have a great time playing Magic and EDH Commander. Bye.